Yeah, mom's at home.
Hello!
Hi. We are
everyone.
This is the live show for Stalking Jack the Ripper. We're missing a few people, and Sierra is also going to have to be leaving early today.
Sorry.
So, yeah, we're going to have a little small group. But before we get started, we should do all of our announcements.
Yes.
So,
You have our
Heartless,
list?
yeah.
Okay.
Heartless was our October through December Biblio Book Club. Ow, Hedwig's clawing me.
Oh no.
God. It was our October through December Biblio Book Club book of the month. So we will be having a live show for that coming up soon, but we don't have a date yet. We'll be announcing it on Twitter and probably on Instagram. And then we also are changing our live show dates or our month groups for the Biblio Book Club. So instead of going from January to March and so on and so forth, we're going to do from February to April and so on and so forth, so that they don't continue to conflict with Bibliothon live shows.
Yeah, because it gets confusing every time, and everyone's like, is the group book Heartless or Stalking Jack the Ripper? And I'm like, no, wrong. Wait, they're different things.
So we're going to try to make that a little bit less confusing by changing the months that we do those on. So our February through April Biblio Book Club is going to be Nevernight by J. Kristoff. So if you haven't read it yet, or if you have read it and just want to join us for the live show, we'll be doing that sometime in April. Mm-hmm. And
so many people watching.
I know. Hello. Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. I want to see so many people I recognize in the chat box. Hi, everyone.
All right. Sierra, do you want to announce the other thing?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I had a really hectic week this week. It was really bad, and I'm not going to go into details. So I wasn't able to finish Stalking Jack the Ripper. Kassie, you're dying.
I'm sorry. Hedwig is trying to jump into the window, but he has a coat on, and so he just keeps running into the window and falling. I'm sorry. Continue.
Anyways, I wasn't able to finish the book, so I'm going to be leaving early after the non-spoilery part. But since Brittni, Momo, and Red are not here, we're going to do another live show. We don't have any promises as to when it is. Basically, just whenever we finish. And if you guys would like, we can do it either on this channel, or we'll just do it casually on my channel or wherever. So if you want to hear our thoughts on it, you can also hear them at that point in time.
Mm-hmm. We'll just have this part 2.
Part 2. Woohoo!
Sounds like a plan. Right. Do we want to go down the row and do general thoughts and whatnot?
I feel like we had more announcements. Was that it?
Did we have more announcements?
Yeah, I feel like we did too, actually.
I thought we did too.
Kassie, you sent me like the longest list ever of stuff.
We disappeared.
Also, we're not going to be announcing winners today. That will come in a couple weeks. That was one of them.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Nevernight, monthly changes, the live show for Jack when you guys finish your book, and then the winners. Okay. Yeah. That's everything.
Cool. Yeah, we'll have a separate video on the winners on the channel.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for participating. We had so many people this year, or this round. Oh my God, it was crazy. My Twitter was constantly like blowing up. It was insane.
Yeah. It's like really, really crazy. I hope you all had fun.
Yeah, because it was awesome.
Yeah,
as usual.
We had like 10 people sprinting together like at all times. Like no matter what time of day, it was always like a huge group.
I know.
Okay.
Are we set with the introductions and announcements and whatnot?
Yeah.
Okay. Kassie, what's the row? Because I think you set it up, right?
Yeah. Emma, Kelly, Sierra, and then me.
Okay. So I gave Stalking Jack the Ripper, I think 3.5 out of 5 stars, or maybe I gave it 4 stars. Now I can't remember. I gave it in between 3.5 and 4 stars because I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun reading it, and it was definitely in my area of interest. But I felt like there wasn't enough events actually happening throughout the book. Like I felt a lot of it was just like dialogue and going through the motions, which is why like I detected the stars, but I really like the characters and just the concept of it overall was like really, really good.
I gave Stalking Jack the Ripper a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. It was a book that had everything I could possibly love in it because it's horror related. It's serial killer, has a sassy guy, has a main character who just does what she wants to do all the time. So I absolutely loved it, and I'd never found myself getting bored. So I was happy with it.
Yeah. I haven't rated it yet since I haven't finished, but I will say that so far I love the main character. I think she's great. I love that she totally promotes doing what you want, whether you're a woman or a man. I love that so much. But yeah, that's all I have.
I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it too. I think the main character is really fun and like feminist.
Oh my god, I was like, we have to talk about that next.
Yeah. So I love her for that, and then I loved the love interest, and I also really loved that the love interest didn't like overtake the story from a YA novel. Like that's always the case, and I loved that it wasn't all about them, but was more about stalking Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Kassie, did you say what your rating was?
4 out of 5.
Okay. Okay, can we just talk about how feminist this book is and how much I love it? Because this is still non-spoiler, and I was like obsessed with it. I have like a note in my phone that's like just like lines that I loved. Like it was like when she was talking about the prostitutes, and she was like, "It's not her fault. Society is so unjust to women."
Yes, I love that.
Or when she was like, "My gender didn't handicap me," I'm like, yes. I was so excited for like all these lines, especially at the beginning when we're like first getting her character. Like literally, like there's like so many in my phone.
Yeah, I love
There's
it.
just so many good lines. Which other ones did I love?
There was one I need to find the one that I really liked.
When it's like one of the first scenes when Thomas and Audrey are like just like meeting in the room or whatever, and she's like, "Pretend me as capable as a man, please sir, do not value me so little." Like she was so offended that he was pretending she was as capable. Oh my god, it was so good. I loved it.
Yeah, it's also great. Like I couldn't get over the fact that like I was really nervous as I read this book. Like, okay, at some point we're gonna start like focusing on Thomas, and it never happened, and I was just like, yes. Like, I was just waiting for that shoe to drop, and it didn't happen. I was really excited.
And my, like, with her being feminist, like, when her dad, oh, wait, never mind. I don't want to get into spoilers yet, so we'll wait. I'll talk about it later.
What was I going to say? Yeah, I felt like it was, like, a very slow burn. Like, it wasn't overtaking. Like, I wouldn't think of this book automatically as a romance, and I didn't even go into it thinking it was a romance. Like, it was just, like, a nice surprise rather than it being, like, this is a romance story, and I'm just going to shove them kissing in your face every 5 pages. So it was refreshing. It was really refreshing.
Yeah, I love that it was always kind of teasing throughout the story. It never was, like, full out.
Oh, they were so cute.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do we have any, like, non-spoiler questions that we could talk about? And you guys can talk in the live chat. I don't think we mentioned this. In the live chat on YouTube, we'll be monitoring also our Twitter and at BIBIB-a-thon and like hashtag winter BIBIB. Are there any other ways for them to send questions? Or did that
to our own accounts?
Oh yeah, you can tweet us individually too. That works too.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
I want to see if there's any non-spoiler questions that we can keep talking about, or like if you guys have any topics that you wanted to talk about.
I want to read this
and if
quote.
not, then I'll leave.
Okay, read the quote. Read the quote.
I didn't see any men running about birthing the world's population, then going on to make supper and tend to the house. Most of them buckled to their knees when the slightest sniffle attacked them. Yes. Amazing.
I love how it's so feminist in such a patriarchal society. Like it's like Victorian era London.
Yeah.
And it's like I think that's what I like about historical fiction books is when they can put a modern twist on it, that it makes more sense to us the way that we're reading.
Yeah. I need that whenever I read historical fiction, or else I can't get into it. So
Oh yeah.
I'm shocked by how much I love this book.
Mm-hmm.
I also really like the audiobook. I don't know if anyone listened to it or it's what I'm listening to right now, and they do all the voices in an accent. That's great.
Accents are the best.
It's great.
Unless you speed it up. Don't speed it up, then it's confusing.
Now, I'm curious, do you guys have like prior knowledge or like a prior interest of Jack the Ripper? Because like I love all things serial killer, which is why like this book was perfect for me. But I didn't know if you guys like had a prior interest in it that made it like more interesting to you, or if you just picked it up because it was a group book.
I didn't know about it beforehand, but I'm obsessed with Stalking, like obsessed with Jack the Ripper. So when we like put this out there, I was like, oh, I want to read that even if we don't pick this. Where is it? How do I find it?
Where is it?
I'm the same way. I love anything serial killer related and just scary in general. And so I didn't know about the book prior to it, but when I heard the synopsis, I was like, I'm reading it anyway. So hopefully we pick it.
Me too. I didn't know about it prior, but I also love serial killer stuff. Like I constantly watch those documentaries on Netflix. They're like all about serial killers. I'm obsessed with it. So I was really excited to read this book.
And I love how different it is from any other book that we've read. Like it's so different.
Finally not a contemporary.
Right.
Definitely the best book I think we've picked.
Yeah, I
so
think
far.
for sure like our best group book.
And I think we have a question that is not spoilery. It says, how do you feel about their representation or lack of it of female friendships in the book?
I actually think that they're like, we kind of watched her grow into being able to have female friendships, because she starts off being really like, ugh, women are annoying because she's, you know, of a different type of a woman than the normal societal whatever. And then she ends up making friends and like not only being friends, but like recognizing the strength within her cousin. Like, I remember there being this one line, I can't remember it exactly, but she basically says, like, she's playing the game. Like, she's playing being a societal woman in order to get her freedom or something. And she's talking about her cousin. I really liked that.
Yeah.
I definitely wish there was just an overall larger group of characters, because we have Audrey, we have Thomas, we have our uncle, her dad, her brother, and like that's really it for main characters. So like we were really, really focused on just those 5 characters at the time. So it would have been nice to see more characters in general. And I think that I agree, like there was a lack of female friendships, but I like what Kassie says about the fact that like we do watch her grow and like, you know, character development and whatnot, which is like a nice lead in.
Yeah, and I feel like with this book, because it focuses so much on being able to have power as a woman and do just as much as the man does, that it didn't really bother me that much that she was around men and trying to prove herself as someone who could be in that group of men and still be strong.
Yeah. And it wasn't like all the men in the story were all love interests. Like we weren't having a like
love triangle or anything
sided
crazy.
triangle. Yeah. It was just other than the one character, it was all siblings.
Yeah.
Relations.
Yeah. And I found another question that is halfway, it's non-spoilery. Are you guys excited this is going to be a series, or what did you think about that? Because I didn't know it was going to be a series.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
I
didn't know either.
That. I was really, really excited.
That's exciting.
I feel like they're going to just pick different cases.
Does it end in a cliffhanger?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Okay, so then definitely different
cases, probably.
That's cool.
Book 2 is called Hunting Prince Dracula.
Yes.
It's going to be about Vlad the Impaler. I'm so pumped.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh my god.
When it comes out.
It's going to be like a crime scene investigation.
Oh my god. The synopsis, because it's up on Goodreads, because it comes out September of 2017. Audrey flees London, and she goes to Romania, to one of Europe's best schools for forensic medicine, and she finds Vlad the Impaler. Not that she finds him, but she like goes there to research him and stuff. And I'm like,
I'm so excited.
I definitely think we should make it a book club book.
Oh my god, that'd be so cool.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. I didn't even know this was a thing. Thank you. I don't remember. Exactly.
Jessica.
Book nerd until the very end. Thank you so much.
Amazing.
Wow.
So cool. Okay, I think this is the time where I should head off so you guys can talk about all the things.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Alright,
Bye, guys. I love you.
Bye. Thanks for joining us. Alrighty. So now we can get into more spoilery stuff. If you haven't finished it and don't want to be spoiled, I'd recommend leaving. So yeah, I think my first question is, did you guys expect who Jack the Ripper would be?
Okay, I had a feeling that it was going to be Thomas the whole time, and I was like, if it's Thomas, it's so boring, like, because like the back of it literally says I was the girl who loved the Ripper. And I'm like, is it really going to be the one? Like, we don't even have multiple love interests. This is going to be so annoying. And then it wasn't, and I was excited.
I was totally shocked by it because I guessed every single person except for who it was, and I went back after we found out who it was, and I was like, but it says I was the person who was in love with Jack the Ripper.
No,
But
it
didn't.
doesn't.
It said loved. So
Yeah.
it didn't say in love. So I was like, oh my God, this just, I love that it shocked me as much as it did because it made it so much better for me that I never could guess until literally when she was going into like the little dungeon area. That's when I was like, oh my God, I know who it is now. But I never guessed it.
I definitely had an inkling, like once we were figuring out that she thought it was the dad, I was like, the brother makes more sense, but okay.
Yeah, because I spent the whole book trying to like pinpoint from the beginning. I'm like, okay, it's Thomas. Like as soon as he's introduced, and then as her dad starts getting more touchy, I'm like, it's her dad. But I originally envisioned Nathaniel when he formed that group. I don't remember, was it like the Knights of Whitechapel or the group that was like investigating the killings?
Yeah.
That when he was involved, it was like, oh, killers like to be involved in the investigation to make sure no one's on their trail. So I was like, it's probably Nathaniel. But then like when the dad started getting more convincing, I was like, oh, maybe it's her father. But then like as it got too obvious that it would have been her dad, I'm like, nah, it's her brother. But I thought it was an interesting plot twist. It was interesting because like we were so led to believe for a while that it was her father, and then it's like
it kept us guessing a lot.
twist.
I feel like.
I liked them a lot.
Dylan the reader just asked, I'm not usually a fan of fantasy. Do you think I'd enjoy it? It's not really fantasy. It's historical fiction. There's no like...
Actually, yeah, I know Dylan personally, and I feel like definitely because it has a contemporary aspect that he would really love about it. So I think he'd like it.
Yeah. There's no like paranormal or anything like that. If anything, it's a little bit steampunky.
That's what I was gonna ask a question throughout the live show, how you guys felt about the steampunk aspect at the end.
I definitely thought it was a weird twist. I wasn't expecting it, but it was good. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, it just was it. I don't know.
Kelly, how did you feel about the steampunky end?
Well, I definitely did not expect it at all. Again, and it was very like when you think Jack the Ripper, you definitely don't think that type of motive and that type of situation. So it was very weird, but I think it was good that it was weird because it was so shocking. You never would have thought about that through the book, that would be a motive. So
yes.
No, I agree. I think it definitely put a different twist on Jack the Ripper because like all throughout history, you know, he's been like this notorious like bloodthirsty vigilante when in reality he was like trying to save someone as a result of it. I'm just personally not a fan of steampunk, and so when it happened I was like, really? Like I feel like so many Victorian books set in the Victorian era always have a steampunk aspect, and I'm like, just give me historical fiction. But I do agree, like the motive of it was definitely very interesting.
Yeah, it definitely gave me Infernal Devices feels.
Yeah,
same, definitely.
Oh, somebody
also
asked
gave me
about that.
Yeah. Did you see the connection with
Christina.
Tessa and her evil Nate from
Oh my God, wait.
Infernal Devices and Andre Rose and her evil brother Nate?
We both have brothers named Nate.
Oh, shoot.
That's hysterical. Yeah, I was definitely getting a lot of TID feels at the very end of it when we had the whole reveal and whatnot. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it was definitely
I might be the only one who thinks this, but I actually got some Diviners feels, which y'all read the Diviners. But it's like because of the situation of her working with her uncle and investigating a case and getting too involved in the case herself. I was like, this feels a lot like the Diviners, just without the paranormal aspects.
I totally see what you're saying, and I would.
Yeah, I can see that too. I didn't get that, but yeah, I agree. Definitely feel that.
More questions.
Jessica said she wanted it to be the guy she was in love with, but I wanted it to be like she actually saw him doing the killings and be in love with him and end up helping him. That's where I thought it was going to go too, Jessica. And I think that would have been really cool if she ended up being like Harley Quinn-esque. That was kind of, I saw that as a possibility.
Or if she ended up being the Ripper herself. Like, that's something Sarah guessed at the beginning when she started reading it. What if she's the Ripper? That would have been a twist.
I think the way that this book was set up is it would have been interesting no matter who it was. Like, whether it was the brother, the father, the love interest, like, I feel like they all had, like, a strong connection where it would have been, like, plot twist. But I went into this book not even thinking that it would have been somebody that she would have known. Like, I thought it was still going to be, like, you know, your classic envisioned Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool that it was, like, much closer to home than I had originally anticipated.
Yeah.
I was the same.
Somebody asked, what do you think, what Hogwarts house do you think Audrey would be in?
Oh my gosh.
I want to say Slitherclaw.
Yeah. She's really determined and like wants to rise above the station that she should have. But then she's also really intelligent and like very bookish.
She's very Hermione-ish for sure.
Yes. And she's also brave because, I mean, who goes after a serial killer?
She's like a mixture of all of them, except for maybe Hufflepuff.
She's almost a little bit too brave. Why were you going out in the middle of the night?
What do you guys think Thomas is? Ooh, I think he's a Hufflepuff. Like, there's just something about, like, adorable men in literature that I'm always inclined to say Hufflepuff.
He's not nice enough to be a Hufflepuff.
It's true.
He's too sassy. He like is too forward.
And he's so smart too. Like, I could definitely see Ravenclaw a little bit. Probably a mixture for him too, honestly.
Yeah.
All the best characters are the ones that are Hogwarts house ambiguous.
Let's see. Do you have any other questions?
Somebody asked, who was your favorite character?
Ooh.
Kirsten Belt. Or Kirsten Belt. Kirsten Belt. I loved both Thomas and Audrey so much.
Yeah, it's hard to pick between one of them, honestly.
Yeah, same.
Thomas kept the humor going. I feel like it made me laugh a lot, so I needed him.
Yeah. I think I'd pick Audrey out of the two.
Yeah.
Because Thomas was a little bit like he was one of those too perfect love interests. Oh, it irritates me when they're too perfect. There's something wrong with you. Oh, hi.
Oh, see, he should have been the Ripper for that reason. It would have been his one fatal flaw is that he's a murderer.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that would have been perfect. And then she falls in love with him anyway. Harley Quinn, yes.
What was I say? That's why I say, like, I feel like it would have been nicer to have a bigger set of characters because I feel like we're inclined to just pick Audrey or Thomas, you know what I mean?
Because you can't really like anybody. The uncle's all right, but everybody else is just pisses you off a lot.
Yeah. And the uncle is very aloof, too. It's not like
he's not like
great of a character.
I know. What did y'all think about, like, all the different moments where, like, for instance, her dad was just shooting her down and basically saying, like, trying to protect her too much because she's a girl. And, like, was I the only one who got extremely irritated?
I hate that.
And her aunt, oh my God, her aunt, all of them.
It felt very, like, true to the time, to the era. Yeah. But it was, definitely frustrating.
I mean, didn't he make her go out with, like, a mask sometimes?
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's a little much.
And that point, whenever he told her that she was going to be kicked out of the house if she didn't stop what she was doing, I was like, this is going to ruin the whole book for me because she's going to have to listen. So I was so happy when she just was like, I'm doing my own thing anyways. I don't care.
Yeah, that was great. And it happened so late in the book that I was like, good God, how are we going to finish anything right now if that happens? but then it didn't happen like that. It was great.
I like how that played out.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys feel about Thomas being the one that was like courting her? Because like I didn't get that vibe from the beginning, and then her father was like, wasn't there that scene when he was like, and I let you court my daughter, and then Audrey got like really pissed off?
No, that was the police officer, wasn't it?
Yeah, Blackburn.
That was courting her.
Oh, I misread that then. I totally misread that then.
Yeah, so Blackburn was like using the uncle's like incarceration as a way to get on Audrey Rose's good side because he wanted to court her.
Now that makes a lot more sense. This is why I love live shows, because I always misread shit.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I didn't see it coming, and then I was like, ooh, maybe he's Jack the Ripper.
I thought he was too. I definitely guessed that at one point.
I just love that, like, it just could have been anyone. Like, who knows? That was great.
It made it so fun.
We see. Let's find another question. What would you guys like to see more of from the next book from Gabby?
More of Audrey Rose refusing to sit in the box that she's supposed to be in.
Definitely.
Like the standard or whatever. More of that all the time.
And now that she has family support, I would love to see that come out more in a different place, because she's going to just do what she wants to anyways, and she knows her dad supports her, so that would be fun.
I wonder if her dad or uncle are going to be in the second book, though. Oh, like, I don't know. Like, I'm wondering if they're going to come with her to Romania, or if she's just going to go on her own.
Yeah.
Because it says that because of, like, the reveal of who Jack the Ripper is, she flees. So, like, I'm, like, wondering if, like, they're going to play a role, or if she's going to meet new people.
And at the end, it did say that he was sending her away because of it. So it makes me wonder if it's just going to be her and Thomas.
Oh, right. She goes to Romania with Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be there.
That's exciting.
I was to say, I just hope for more action scenes. Like, more doing stuff. Because I feel like so much of it was conversation. So, like, yeah, I hope there's, like, a lot of scenes of them, like, running from Vlad the Impaler and shit.
Or even, like, more crime scene investigation.
Yeah, that too.
Like,
I think it's going to be fun because it's not going to be somebody in relation to her this time. It's going to be a totally random person. So
yeah.
Which is going to make it even harder to find out, like, who they're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Proud Book Lion asked, would you like to visit or live in the era Audrey Rose is in?
Never. There's no internet.
People are too judgmental of women too.
That too.
I would beat so many people up.
I would like to go for a short time.
Yeah, just to visit a vacation.
Yeah, like just give me a time capsule that works both ways so that I can come back. But I would like to go for a short period. I want to wear a pretty dress and not be able to breathe in a corset for a minute and then be like, never mind. Yeah.
Oh, this is a good question. From Aurora, what did you think of the ghost summoning? Did you feel it gave a bit of a paranormal vibe to the book?
Yeah, that was weird. It was very out of place for me. I was just like, what is happening? Which apparently did you guys read the author's note about all the history and stuff? So that guy, Lees, was a real person that he had offered his help as a seer to the police like multiple times, including for Jack the Ripper. So he's an actual like historical aspect. But it felt very out of place. It just like randomly shows up and then just goes away. Nothing ever happens with it.
Yeah, I didn't really take it seriously.
I got like flashbacks to that scene of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody when Esteban is like summoning the ghost in the hotel.
Yeah,
that's like my immediate thought.
It reminded me of that show. What's that show called that has all of the different kinds of characters? Like the main character is played by the woman who played Miss Peregrine, and she's a witch. And there's like vampires and Frankenstein and all of the different characters. I don't remember what the show is called, but it reminded me of that.
Eva Green is her name.
Yeah.
What is it? I'm trying to find it. What was I gonna say? I just feel like this book, like, it's one of those books where you go into it expecting it to be one genre, and then it like turns out to be something else because it has a steampunk element and it has the paranormal vibe of ghosts and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it was just one of those
a little bit
books.
like everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what were you gonna say, Kelly?
When I was writing my review on Goodreads, I was trying to figure out what exactly to call it. Like, I know it's historical fiction, but I couldn't figure out if that was going to be wrong because so many things changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the show that I was talking about is called where did it just go? Penny Dreadful.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of it, but it sounds
Oh,
interesting.
you guys were giving me the answer in the live chat. Sorry, I wasn't looking. Yes, you're all right. Penny Dreadful.
What was I gonna say? Gabby also asked, how do you think they'll introduce Vlad the Impaler in the story since he died in the 15th century? That was my first thought when it said hunting Count Dracula or whatever it is. Because I'm like, what are they gonna do? But I'm thinking maybe it'll be like,
Uh-oh, we lost your audio. We can't hear you.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I accidentally pulled out.
What did you say?
That was my first thought when I saw that it was like hunting Count Dracula, whatever the title was Vlad the Impaler died like many years ago. So
she might just take it and just change the time frame, because that's reading that author's note. She did that a few times with this stuff too. Like she talks about how that circus that they go to, that actually didn't come back to the area until like 4 years after the time frame that it takes place in this book, and that like the elephant was already dead and like a few things like that. So she just like moved it to work with what she wanted to do.
That's interesting.
That would make sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'm thinking, I wonder if it's like a copycat thing, or if it's like a new person that's like impersonating the Impaler, or maybe like a descendant of Vlad the Impaler who's like come to wreak havoc or something of that sort.
Yeah, that
would make sense.
If you could choose, Proud Bookline asked, if you could choose to read from another character's point of view, who would it be? And she says she'd want from the victims.
See, I think that's fascinating. I would have loved to read, like, even if it's not like the full book is just from the victims, but like if we had like
chapters,
sections of it, like before a murder happened, if it was like that would be really interesting. Because like, who knows if there was like actually dialogue between like Nathaniel and like the victims, and if they conversed and stuff, like it could have added an interesting element to it.
Almost like the diviners did, because you got to see what happened in the diviners. Yeah,
exactly. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
And even like there's that scene towards the end when she thinks she's following her father, but I'm pretty sure it was actually Nate. That she watches him talk to the victim, and then she goes home, and that's when she like thinks she figures out that it was the dad, but it wasn't the dad.
Yeah.
That would have been cool to see from a different point of view. Raya asked, if you could rewrite the book's ending, how would you write it? What would you change?
I would take out the steampunk element and just have him try and recreate his mother. Because I just watched that episode of Buffy when they did that. Like, I watched the episode of Buffy this morning when they try and create a girl out of 3 girls and whatnot. And I'm like, you could do it just scientifically and not have an automaton involved and whatnot.
Yeah, I thought that was where it was going, because she mentions something when she walks down that there's like skin in behind her or something, and I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be a new, it's gonna be so creepy, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't really get the automaton thing. What?
I don't either. I've read so many books about it, and I still don't get it. It's like Clockwork People. Like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's something I just don't care for.
Steampunk is just not my thing.
Like, I loved the Infernal Devices, but that was the weirdest part to me. I was like, what is this? What is this?
I think I would have liked him to, instead of it being a motive of the mother, him just be crazy. Like him just literally be bloodthirsty and actually just killing these people because he wants to, and her find out that he's actually extremely evil. I think that would have been fun.
Yeah, because
That's what I've been watching.
I need to watch that so badly.
It's really good.
Yeah, I think having the mother's involvement, it like humanizes Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
When we spent centuries like thinking of him as like this monster. So it's an interesting twist, but I agree. I think it would have taken the story in a different direction if he was just like actually psychotic and had like an actual problem.
And maybe it ended with him trying to kill her.
Oh my god, that would have been so cool.
I thought that was gonna happen. I'm so sad it
I
didn't.
thought that too. That's what I thought. He was gonna turn on her, but he was just concerned about the mother.
Yeah.
Book nerd until the very end said she would have loved Thomas's point of view because of the way his mind works. It's really interesting and reminds me a lot of Sherlock. And I totally agree. I wonder if that like was some inspiration for Carrie.
It's because he profiles. That was my first thing when he starts like noticing different parts of her life and he's into it. I'm like, he's profiling, and profiling is like my favorite thing in the world. Like it's part of why I have a criminal justice minor, because I love profiling, and like this is the second book I've ever read that included it. So I thought that was so cool.
Maybe she'll add some of that to the next book and give maybe his perspective some.
I love profiling. It made me so happy. Like in that notes that I was writing with all the things, it's just as profiling.
Profiling. Oh man. Somebody just asked us, how was the writing? Was it information heavy or was it balanced? Was it lyrical? And how did you guys like it?
I don't know if I would say it was lyrical. I feel like it was just like writing. Like there's just like some books that I feel like the writing doesn't stand out to me, and that's because I just personally am not a writing based reader. Like it's not the first thing I look for in a book. Like it told the story. That's the way I saw it.
Yeah, it's definitely like a very traditional way of writing. Just like first person, it's all in her head, so it's her thought process as she's going through what we're seeing.
Well, I liked it actually just because I liked all the descriptions, and I think that's what sucked me in, is reading what they're doing to the bodies and stuff, because you don't really see that a lot in YA where they're actually that descriptive. Like I know there was one part where they talked about pulling the thigh skin flaps back, and I nearly died. It was so gross, but it's just so interesting. It makes it very different from what you would normally read with YA.
Yeah, it didn't feel like reading a textbook on anything like that. When you asked about being information heavy, I wouldn't say it was like over the top. It was only what you needed in order to understand what was happening. It depends on how queasy you are too, because like I didn't have any issue reading it at all. I was just like, this is fucking fantastic. But I know Sierra, when she started reading it, we were together, and like within for the first 3 pages she was like, am I gonna get nightmares from reading this? And I was like, I don't know. I won't, but maybe you will.
Yeah, and I think that even like the autopsy parts of it, it wasn't like it overtook the story either. It wasn't like every other scene they were like examining a body. Like I feel like it just had like the right amount of that. I mean, I would have even taken more because like that's so interesting.
Same.
But it wasn't like you're learning like how to make incisions in different parts of the body and whatnot. Like it was very normal, if that kind of stuff can be normal. Like it wasn't like it overtook the story.
Yeah.
And I liked reading like about, did y'all read the back about like what her biography or whatever? And she's into forensic science. I think she's got a degree or something.
Oh, that's so
it's interesting to see that that's pretty much where she
really
got everything from.
Yeah, it says it incorporates her love of forensic science and unsolved history.
Oh, I think I did read that one.
Yeah, it's just the little back flap. Somebody mentioned Sherlock references again, Aurora, and she said, did you catch the Sherlock reference when Thomas says, on the contrary, dear Wadsworth? Which I had in my mind, like, did Carrie pick a last name for Audrey Rose that was similar enough to Watson because Thomas is a lot like Sherlock, which now the more it happens, the more I think is true, and I love it.
I thought it was so funny. I picked up on that while reading. Because he talks about like the power of deduction, and like that's where those are Sherlock's roots and whatnot. So I thought it was cool. I really like the parallels and whatnot. Oh, which reminds me, I really need to watch the next season of Sherlock.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, so I'm totally out of loop on that stuff.
Let me see. Fandom in Book says, it made it totally unbelievable for me. Seriously, how could you bring back a body that has been dead for 5 years? Just building her a new heart wouldn't work. I picked up on that too. That was my thoughts as well.
Like 5 years? 5 years and you decided to start
very
doing
decomposed.
This? Like, yeah, why didn't
it say though that he like dug her body up right at the beginning and froze it? So.
He says something along the lines of like, I know I should have done this sooner, but I'm sad that I didn't think of it earlier.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because he says something about wanting to have frozen her or whatever.
Yeah. What is it? Proud Book Lane says, did you like the pictures in the book? I personally love them.
Yes, definitely.
Are they real photos or were they?
I think there's like references at the bottom of all of them. So I think they are.
So it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's like it's not like they were creative just for the book. I think if anything, I just would have liked more stuff that had to do with like actually like Jack the Ripper and whatnot. Like it would have been cool to have more of the like stuff, but with licensing, I'm not sure if they could do it. So I understand.
Yeah.
But no, it was very cool. I really liked it.
They have the Real from Hell letter though.
Yeah, that was
cool.
That was very cool.
It's really hard to read.
Oh yeah, I had the hardest time.
The hand was so difficult. I tried very hard.
That's one thing I had a hard time reading the letters, the font that they chose for the letters in the book.
Yeah.
Like in general.
Yeah.
That was still really hard to read. I wasn't a huge fan of the font choice.
Yeah, it's like eventually like authenticity. Like I would have preferred a more modern font.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, because on top of that, there's like grammar errors and stuff too. And then on top of that, you can't read it very well. So you're just like, what's happening? I don't know.
Rhea says, do you think the book would make a good movie or TV show? I think it would make an awesome TV show.
I agree, definitely.
Like I would be
how many good ones are out there.
I would be so down for a TV show about a teenager in the 18th century?
Victorian
Era, when that just goes around trying to solve all these mysteries. I would be so down for that. And like even
while
if
you're feminist and sassy.
Exactly. And even if it went past like the content of the book, like I don't know if it's just supposed to be a trilogy because there's 3 books on Goodreads, but like there's so many ways that they could go about it. Like there's so many different things through history that they could play on, which would be really cool. I would be down.
I'm excited. I'm excited for something that's not real.
No,
what do you think about the fact that this is a debut novel?
I thought it was really good for a debut novel.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I didn't even like, I don't know, for me I didn't notice that it was like new writing or
whatever. I didn't either. It made me want to read more of her books for sure.
Yeah, I would for sure read from the author again, especially because she has an interest in forensic science, which makes me think that, maybe even after this trilogy we'll have more books about creepy shit that I like. Yes. Let's see. If anyone has questions, remember you can send them into #WinterBIBIB on Twitter or tag us or in the chat, which we are monitoring. Let's see.
Proud Book Lion asked, if you got to add a fictional character into the book or plot, who would it be and what would they do?
I have an answer for this. I would add a female best friend that is into this stuff too and helps her. I think that would make it fun to have that extra friendship.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have one in book 2. Because
we'll
I mean, they'll be at a school for it, so there'll be more people there.
Yeah.
She
reminded me, the main character reminded me a lot of Selena Sardossian. Just in the fact that like
I see what you're saying.
Still loved her girly outfits and stuff, but she's not down to be a girly girl.
Yeah, she wants to do it on her own terms, which is
like,
who would I would probably pick Kassie from the Natural series. I think she'd be good in there because she's a profiler from like another mystery series. So like they would make really good girl best friends who investigate cold cases and stuff. So I would be down for that.
Yeah.
I don't know who to pick.
Somebody says, did anyone else have an issue with James Patterson putting his name on the cover?
My sister mentioned it first.
Really?
I didn't even notice. And then my sister was like, why is James Patterson's name on this?
Yeah, he has like I don't know if it's from him, but like the foreword, or there was like a note in the beginning
Yeah.
about it being one of the first
It's
books
written by
from
him.
his thing. Oh, it is written by him. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't ever read anything from James Patterson, so like,
I have,
like,
but I didn't like what I read.
What did you read?
It was a contemporary. What was it called? I read it for the last bibliothon. It was very The Fault in Our Stars-ish, but not as good.
Yeah, I know some people don't like James Patterson, so it wouldn't surprise me that it annoys people.
I like James Patterson.
Let's see.
I'm one of the only ones who does, though.
Let's see. I feel like there were more questions.
Oh my God, Victoria and Hermione. Yes.
Yes, I
Stephanie
just saw
got
that
it.
too. Somebody said they wanted to throw in a Victoria and Hermione, and I feel like
I would be here.
Yeah. Let's see. Rhea asks, what do you think the author can improve on with her writing? That's an interesting question. I think they're just, I keep saying this, they just think there needs to be more action scenes and more substance. Because I feel like a lot of it was dialogue, and I'm just not a dialogue-based reader. So, like, just incorporating more scenes. Because I also feel like the book could have been longer, too. Like, it's not like it's a really dense book, and it's not like it's really long, like, which is really good. I just felt like there would be more space for more actual content with, like, like visual substance with it.
More doing, less talking.
Yes.
I agree.
And I feel like the book isn't even. I feel like the book isn't even a lot of showing, not telling, not showing, which is good because I hate it when authors do that. It's just that like there wasn't even enough to tell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that would be my biggest recommendation, but I'm not a writer, so it's not like I can really say anything.
Yeah.
Somebody asked before, I don't know who it was, but I saw it before. Have any of you read Frankenstein and like see any parallels? Because I never read Frankenstein. I just know like the story and stuff.
Yeah, I haven't read it either.
I always want.
I've seen like Once Upon a Time they do a whole Frankenstein episode, so that's pretty much all I know of it.
Yeah, I know that Frankenstein's really feminist too, because Mary Shelley wrote it. Well, the way it came about is really feminist. Mary Shelley wrote it back like however long ago it was. When did it come out? Was it in the 1800s or in the early 1900s at least? Maybe even before that? I don't know. Don't pretend that I know things. But yeah, she wrote it and she wasn't allowed to publish it under her name. So originally she had to publish it under her husband's name, and then her husband basically like kind of tried to steal the profits, and then she eventually got it republished under her name.
Oh, that's good.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating.
But I don't know anything about the story itself.
I don't know anything about it.
That would be fun to make a great book to read, one of those like old creepy classics. Because I don't read classics ever, so that would be different.
I have the Barnes & Noble version of Frankenstein that looks like super nice and like leather bound almost. And I want to read it, but I haven't.
Did you guys feel it was accurate to the Victorian era? Because somebody said they felt it was very 21st century to them.
Yes and no. I think the most unrealistic part was how much she fought back on being allowed to do things. But I think without that, it would have been not as good of a book.
I agree.
I agree.
I think it was really important.
Well, it's like one of y'all said earlier that it was a modern twist on that Victorian era, and I think that worked for the book.
Yeah. But like, if you read the author's note, she like talks about how all of the things that they're talking about doing like forensically was there at the time. Like it felt, some of the things felt really like, are you sure that they could do that in 1880? But she like breaks it down for you and explains like, yeah, even like fingerprint stuff.
Bodies in the middle of the night that are unclaimed.
Yeah.
I think that it wasn't like too like technologically advanced. Like they weren't doing anything crazy like what we can do with forensics nowadays, which is good because that could so easily be messed up. So it's good that they didn't. I think it was just the other aspects like her you know, like the social norms definitely felt more modern,
Mm-hmm.
which is not necessarily the most accurate.
Right. But they did bring in, I think she brought in enough like constrictions,
Yeah.
you know, where like the rest of the world didn't necessarily see how she wanted to be seen, and it frustrated her. So I think she tried to do a good job of it.
What was I gonna say? Let's see. Thoughts on Thomas and Audrey's kiss from Into the Bookshelf. I think they're so cute.
Yeah,
like I love them. I think they're adorable. I think they complement each other so well too, which is like so important in books. There's so many times when you're reading and the two main characters are so different, and yet they're like a love interest. But I feel like not even just their interest in forensics and whatnot. Like I just feel like their personalities and their attitudes and the way they banter, it's very complimentary, which is like my favorite thing in a romance.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
and I'm really glad that it wasn't just like the second that they did kiss, then that's all that they were doing. Like it really only happened that one time, and I don't know. I just loved that like it didn't take the forefront. Their love interest.
I love that he just teased her so much about being improper at that time. Like, oh my gosh, we could dance here because nobody's watching us. And, it was very funny the way he teased her constantly about not being a normal girl that wants to do things, you know, that she's not supposed to do.
Yeah. Christina from Proud Brookline also asks, which case would you want Audrey Rose to take on next? So, like, we already know that they're doing something with Vlad the Impaler. But I think that, like, if they were going to do it, like, taking cases and, like, putting them in different time periods, I feel like playing off of the Zodiac Killer case would be fascinating. Yes. Like, I could see her, like, decoding all of the messages that he leaves and whatnot. Like, oh, it would be so cool.
That would be fun in general, just to see her have to deal with messages and guess what they mean and where they're at.
Like, even if it wasn't, like, the exact Zodiac Killer and it was just, like, a killer that was doing the same stuff in the different time period, like, they could do with Vlad the Impaler. Like, I feel like that would be super, super cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know enough serial killers.
See, I would have said Jack the Ripper if this wasn't what the book was about, so I'm the same way, Kassie.
Yeah. I think, like, it'd be really cool to talk about what was Ted Bundy, but he's very modern. So he'd have to, like, they'd have to do a lot of fictionalizing of the thing. But that would be a good one. I love Ted Bundy. He's so crazy. I just love it.
I was going to say something I don't remember. Oh, if you're interested in more unsolved cases and you don't know of a lot of them, you should watch BuzzFeed Unsolved, because it's like the only thing BuzzFeed is worth putting out, and I watch it all the time. It's so good. I'm surprised they haven't had one. Like, as I was reading this book, I'm like, why hasn't BuzzFeed Unsolved done Jack the Ripper yet? Because they've done like so many other unsolved cases.
That'd be so exciting.
Yeah, it's very cool. What was it?
Somebody asked, what would you write fan fiction about using this universe or these characters? My fan fiction would be like somebody falling in love with Nate and having them know about Nate being the killer.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I would play more with like the actual killings or the killers and whatnot. Like, I would just like to see that take more of a forefront, because I feel like one of the things like that was a little bit unexpected for the book, which is why I didn't like love it, is because I feel like the killings weren't always at like the forefront of it. So I feel like just more like, I don't want to say more murder because that makes me sound like I'm weird, but like just more of the actual killings and like having that be a focus on it. So like maybe if it was like if Nate tried to kill Audrey and was like, you're the perfect final piece or something like that would be interesting.
Yes. Like it would have to be her heart, because she's the one that's stealing another away.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Or just even doing like getting in the head of Nate but not knowing that it's Nate that you're in the head of. Yeah. And watching him do the murder. Cool. That would be fun.
Yeah. That would be fun too. Fandom and Books asked, what was your favorite and least favorite scene in the book?
Ooh. Um,
See, I had all this stuff like tagged and
yeah. Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I think I really liked, this isn't necessarily like one specific scene, but I really liked the part where how his uncle was involved with one of the victims. What was her name? Elizabeth or
Elizabeth, Emma, something.
yeah, like I just thought the connection with the uncle, like that was another really interesting element to the story.
Mm-hmm.
I liked when she went and actually had to look at the murdered body for the first time.
Oh, that was a good scene.
That was really interesting, especially with how gruesome it was for that body.
I think my favorite scene was when she's stalking Thomas and she's getting nervous thinking it might be that he's Jack, and then it turns out that he's instead stealing cadavers.
And that's when the alley scene happens where he almost kisses her. Oh, I love that scene so much.
Yeah. What about the least favorite? I think my least favorite thing is the automatron at the end. Like, why?
Yeah, that's definitely my least favorite.
Yeah. Or the seer. The adding the paranormal
The weird aspects that didn't fit into the historical fiction.
Yeah, it just felt like kind of jumped, like put in there. Like either she really wanted to do something like steampunky, or like she had already written it and then the editor went, if we want to sell this, you should add steampunk. Like that's how it felt to me. It didn't feel authentic.
I agree. I feel like it just didn't fit as well. Like everything else in the book fit except for those two things.
Definitely.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I was saying Venom Book said her favorite was when she first met Thomas, and like the first few scenes were also really good for me too, because I was like, I feel like my interest lost a little bit in the middle of the book, but the beginning, like it really, really grasped me. So like those first few scenes like stand up very
like when she goes to the class.
Yeah,
that was cool
too.
Oh, I thought it was so cool that they had like their own little classes about it.
I think my favorite scenes in general though were just them dissecting the bodies. I just thought that was so interesting to see in a YA book.
Nobody talks about that in YA ever.
Yeah. We need more of that.
Yeah, I just feel like there's like not enough YA crime at all.
Yeah,
like, I know I have a couple. I have a couple on my shelf, but there's just like not a lot. There's so much fantasy and so much contemporary, and like
I'm tired of both. Honestly, I'm very tired.
This is the shit I want to read, which is why I like adult psychological thrillers now, because it has all the shit in it. But
somebody recommended a book to you, Emma. I think it was Family.
I saw like
something by.
There.
She said something by Patricia Cornwell, but I don't remember what
Portrait of a Killer by Patricia Cornwell. I'm gonna add that to my Goodreads right now.
Yeah.
There was
also Ted Dekker has some really good like murder mystery.
Oh yeah, Ted Dekker is creepy.
Like I know there's one called The Bowman's Daughter, and just the way that everything, like how the killer kills people, is so weird, and you're always in the head of somebody trying to figure out who the killer is and why they're doing what they're doing. So you probably really like those.
I read one book by Ted Dekker and I had nightmares.
Oh yeah, he definitely is a freaky writer for sure.
What was I gonna say? I had something to say, but I don't remember what it was. This is me all the time, to be honest. There was something in the chat. I don't remember what it was.
See, I can't pull up the chat, so I don't know what.
Oh, somebody else said A Study in Charlotte. Would be a good one too.
I want to read that.
I don't know what it's about. It says Charlotte Holmes #1, so maybe it has something to do. Yep. Jamie Watson is a character, so it obviously has something to do with Sherlock. Yep. Oh, sweet. I'm so excited now. I've been seeing that book like all the time in Barnes & Noble. I was like, what is this? Well, now it's on my TBR.
Somebody asked us to fan cast.
Latte. I'm so bad at fan cast. I don't know actors.
Sarah,
I don't know
fan
actors.
cast for Audrey. Did you fan cast somebody?
Yes, the girl that plays that comes in that movie. Wait.
Sarah always looks up fan cast when she reads books.
Oh. What was I gonna say? I mean, I literally have such a limited amount of like actresses in my head.
Yeah.
The only one I can think of is Kaya the girl that plays Teresa in The Maze Runner, and Effie from Skins.
Oh, I don't
Because I'm
like her
obsessed
that
with her.
much.
Oh my gosh.
I know who I would cast as either the uncle or the dad.
Who?
And he's
said
this
Annabelle.
guy from The Nick. Have you watched that show? I
No.
recommend everyone. It's this show called The Nick. It's a doctor show, but it's set back in like the early 19th century, and it's set in New York. So they talk about like all sorts of the new surgical stuff. So it's kind of like this, but for not murder mystery. Instead, it's just surgery. But the main character in that, he reminds me of either the uncle or the dad. I have to find.
What's his name in the show? Because I have the IMDb up here. Is it John Thackeray?
Yes, Thackeray.
I can
What is
totally see him. His name's Clive Owen, and I totally see it for the dad.
Sarah said Annabeth from the Percy Jackson series.
Oh, isn't that like Matthew Dadarius' sister or something?
Yeah, I think so.
I could see her too.
The girl that plays Izzy in the Shadowhunters movie.
Oh, Jemima West. I could totally see her too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good option.
Yeah, I could for sure see her as Audrey. For sure.
She's also, isn't Audrey supposed to be not very fair?
Is she?
Her grandma was Indian.
Well, I picture like the girl that's actually on
like
the cover.
hella white on the cover. That's why
Yeah,
I've been like going with like what like white girls with dark hair.
Yeah, for
Don't
sure.
fuck
This
with the
is. But like in the she always describes how her grandmother was, I think, Indian, because she talks about like getting curry and like being excited for all of those. But I don't know if it's supposed to be Indian.
Was a big thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. I don't know if I know any actresses that would fit that, but that's interesting too.
Yeah.
And for Nate, I think of Nate Archibald from Gossip Girl.
Yes. Or also, what's his face from Gossip Girl? Chuck, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I've never watched Gossip Girl.
You've never watched Gossip Girl?
Oh, I haven't watched anything. I'm so bad at TV.
Raya asked, was there someone you wanted to be Jack the Ripper? I wanted Thomas.
Did I want anyone? I would have been happy with any of them.
Same. Except I really don't think I would have liked Thomas because I like their relationship, and that would have totally screwed everything up. But
well, if it was Thomas, I wanted a very like Joker and Harley Quinn-esque story, not what we got. Which I like what we got.
An interesting direction to go in with these books.
Yeah, like she's studying him, and then she accidentally falls in love with him, and then she ends up being crazy too. Awesome.
Yeah, it's that if it was Thomas, it would have had to go in a completely different direction because you can't like. It would be like if Nate, as a character, was her love interest and not her brother. Like, you can't ship that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So it would have to have taken the story. I don't know if there's anyone that like I specifically like wanted.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I like that it ended up being the brother because that was such a twist for me. Just he's so sweet throughout the whole book. Like he's just adorable and sweet and cares so much about her. So you don't expect him to be a serial killer at all.
Yeah. I also think Emma Watson would be a good fan cast.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think
Emma
about her.
Watson would be a good
perfect.
fan cast for anyone.
True.
Let's be real. Emma Watson would be epic. Yeah, we can start wrapping it up. If you guys have any like last minute questions, like feel free to send them in on Twitter, in the chat, any of that. Phantom of Books said a lot of English people went to live in India back in the day because it's part of the colony. So like that makes sense with the having the Indian influence in the story.
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
I think this is a good last question for sure. If somebody said, would you like to see Audrey, Rose, and Thomas keep working on their own or find their own little case-solving squad?
Oh, I saw that question. Oh.
I think it'd be good to have a squad because then we'd have more characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
A little bit more
having
dimension.
a squad would be it, but I still want Andre and Thomas at the forefront of it because I think
Well, and
their
they can kind
relationship
of
is so
like go
interesting.
out on their own outside
Yeah.
of the little squad to figure things
Mhm.
out too. I think that would work.
Yeah, I want like their relationship to be preserved.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's interesting too. Maybe we'll get a squad because they'll be at a like in the second book. They're like at a school for forensic science.
I just wonder if
Maybe
it's gonna
that's
be
a really
all
good
guys because girls don't typically
Probably.
go into that field, so that'll be
I don't
interesting.
know. Does anyone know social norms of the 18th century in Romania? I don't.
In Romania. Oh,
I mean, it's possible. It's very possible that like they were in Romania. They weren't as strict. I have a feeling they were. I mean, was the Vampire Diaries? Did that take place in Romania, or was it a different foreign country?
I don't think that was
I
Romania.
also wonder if her and Thomas will end up getting married, since that's kind of the normal.
Oh my god!
Oh, like, is he gonna actually court her, and then
Oh
are
my
they gonna
god!
get betrothed, and then?
Because it would make sense for that time period.
I would love for
Yeah.
him to court her and them go on dates of like examining dead bodies. Like I have like now there's like a
Going to
perfect
cemeteries
like
that
a
night and
perfect
stuff.
vision that they're in Romania and they're going out on a date and somebody dies and they have to go investigate and then Thomas makes a joke about how this is a really nice first date. I'm down for it.
Yep, I agree.
I'm so down for this. Yeah, I'm actually really excited about the sequel.
Yeah.
And I think that because my main problem with the book was just that it wasn't like enough action, I feel like that's something that could very easily be improved in the second book.
Oh, yeah.
And like I hope that it would. So
Well, I'm happy that we all mostly like this book, though.
Yeah.
no,
Because usually it's a lot more varied on our opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Sierra said that she was enjoying it, and I'm not sure about how Red and Momo felt about
Red
it.
did not like the writing, but she loved the story.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
know if
you'll
I'll
get
talk
to hear everyone else's thoughts and opinions on this book in the other live show that they'll be doing,
Yes.
like, coming up, because some of us didn't get to finish it, or Brittni has been on vacation, stuff like that. So I think all 4 of the rest of us will be in a live show together talking about the same book coming up. Oh, keep an
So you
eye
can
out
ask all your
for
questions.
So
that.
the question didn't get answered. Take it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we are signing
to
off.
go.
Love you guys. Thanks for joining.
Us. Remember that we will be announcing the winners for the video challenges for this past I Know BIBIB very soon. Just keep an eye out for that video, and we'll keep you guys updated when we know and whatnot. And you guys can tweet us all year long at the BIBIB on Twitter.
Of course.
Yeah.
And don't
Join
forget
our book
about
club.
we're doing our live show for Heartless very soon as well, and that'll be announced on Twitter. Just repeating all of the
excited
beginning
for that
show
one.
announcements.
Yeah. Okay. And with that, we say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.